I was born into a Christian family, a Methodist family in the UK, and brought up as a Christian. But as I got into my 20s, and particularly as I got into higher education, my first degree was in physics, the whole kind of science background that I have, I think gradually pulled me away from any kind of religious belief. I just became more and more apathetic towards religion, and it just kind of fell away from my life. I really became an atheist in my 20s, and then as I travelled around the world and lived and worked in different countries, experiences actually, unfortunately, um, made me become rather anti-religious. I lived and worked for a number of years in Texas, which was very much the kind of right-wing Christians. Um, I lived and worked in various Middle East countries, and there I just felt all the time that it was the religion, which was so much part of the society, was often about what you couldn't do and the restrictions. Um, and I felt I became more and more anti-religious and cynical and negative about religion. And when I eventually retired and settled fully in the UK, I felt I needed to do something about this negativity. And humanism was something that I just kind of drifted into. It's not something that sort of became a major thing in my life, a big kind of eye-opening moment. But I could see that humanism was something that kind of gave a name to the general worldview and values that I believe I have. And I joined actually the humanist movement, Humanist UK in 2022. I think my core values very much overlap with what you'll read or see about what humanists generally adhere to. Um, Humanism is a non-religious worldview, and I'm not religious. As I said earlier, I think humanism actually puts a name on the values and beliefs that I naturally have anyway. Um, I believe very much that we have this one life. I don't believe in any God or gods. This is the only life that we have. We have to live it well. Um, there's no afterlife. There's no second chance. We just need to do the best that we can in this life for ourselves and for others. And I very much believe in living my life that way, in treating others in the way that I would like them to treat me. And in fact, that is such a common aspect of nearly every religion, but it's also something that humanists very much cling on to. We call it the golden rule, to treat others the way that we wish to be treated. The meaning of my life hasn't changed dramatically or drastically, because I guess subconsciously these were the views and values that I've held for so many years anyway. And as I keep repeating, actually, humanism is a name that I can actually put onto these views and values that I hold anyway. But I believe that as I've made a conscious effort to try and adopt and really work with the humanist views and values, it's made me less cynical. I mentioned earlier that I had become rather anti-religious and negative, and I really do make a conscious effort to be much more understanding, and sympathetic, and appreciate other people's religious views without judging, or at least trying not to judge. And I try to extend that beyond just religious views, but just to respect the way that people are. And I think that what this does is it kind of makes me feel better about myself in some ways. And I think you have to feel good about yourself in order to be good to others. So I would say that that's really one of the benefits that's really evolved in recent years for me with my humanism, that I do feel better about myself. I'm less cynical. I'm much more tolerant. I try not to judge, and I really strive to help others in the community. So I'm much more involved in various charities and helping out in the community, and that kind of all gives me hope, and I think that's a really important thing. I don't want to claim any kind of superiority. Superiority for having non-religious views over people that have religious views. I think that's a really bad thing, that a trap that humanists and others can fall into. I think, coming back to what I said before, it's about tolerance and respect for all views. And I think that that's something that is scalable. So it applies to yourself, it applies to your family, how you are in the community and beyond.